The breakaway region of Transnistria had long been a frozen conflict, a relic of the Soviet era where Russian influence remained deeply entrenched. A narrow strip of land between Moldova and Ukraine, Transnistria was a self-declared republic, unrecognized by the international community, but protected and controlled by Moscow. For years, the GRU, Russia's military intelligence agency, had operated in the shadows, using the region as a strategic outpost to extend Kremlin influence and destabilize Moldova. But in 2023, the stakes were higher than ever. As Moldova pursued closer ties with the European Union and NATO, the GRU intensified its operations in Transnistria. Under the guise of peacekeepers, Russian troops stationed in the region served as an extension of Moscow's military power, ensuring that Transnistria remained a permanent pressure point on Moldova. But the real power lay not in the uniformed soldiers, but in the network of GRU operatives embedded within the local government, security forces, and business elite. The GRU's strategy was multifaceted. First, they worked to undermine Moldova's government through political manipulation, funding pro-Russian parties and fueling anti-Western sentiment. Their propaganda machine flooded social media and local news with false narratives, painting Moldova's leadership as corrupt puppets of the West, while portraying Russia as the protector of Transnistria's identity and sovereignty. Then came the economic warfare. GRU-linked businessmen and criminal syndicates controlled much of Transnistria's economy, smuggling weapons, drugs, and illicit goods across borders to fund Russian intelligence operations. The region became a hub for illegal arms trade, with weapons quietly making their way into Russian-backed separatist movements in Ukraine. But the most dangerous element of the GRU's activities was its covert military operations. Intelligence reports suggested that Transnistria had become a staging ground for Russian sabotage missions, with operatives infiltrating Moldova to conduct espionage and subversion. There were whispers of assassination plots against pro-European politicians, of cyber attacks targeting Moldova's infrastructure, and of secret training camps where separatist fighters were being prepared for future conflicts. In early 2023, as the war in Ukraine raged on, fears grew that Transnistria could be used as a launch pad for Russian aggression. Ukraine reinforced its border, wary that GRU operatives might attempt to destabilize the region from within. Meanwhile, Moldova remained in a precarious position, knowing that any escalation in Transnistria could serve as a pretext for Russia to intervene militarily under the guise of protecting Russian citizens. The GRU's influence in Transnistria was not just about controlling a small, unrecognized state. It was about keeping Moldova weak, preventing its integration into Western institutions, and maintaining a foothold in Eastern Europe. It was a long-term game of hybrid warfare, where military force, political subversion, and economic control worked hand in hand to serve Moscow's interests. Despite Moldova's efforts to resist, the GRU remained deeply entrenched in Transnistria, ensuring that as long as the Kremlin sought dominance over its former Soviet sphere, this tiny sliver of land would remain a geopolitical flashpoint, a pawn in Russia's broader strategy to counter the West.